Awesome. Yeah, cool. Honestly, again, thanks so much for coming on. It's been an epic discussion.
It's been really informative as well. I've learnt so freaking much. This like when I woke up this morning to now, it's like my brain has got so much new shit to process.
Yeah.
But it's really good, and I think like I was definitely Stalker's been a big advocate for blockchain and its potential uses in leftist applications for a while now, and like because myself and Stalk, like we spend a lot of time together, and we spend a lot of time doing political and philosophical things together. So we've kind of we're on the same page on so many things, and I know where he's coming from, like generally. So like I've tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I've been so cynical and skeptical about it. And I think that this conversation has definitely opened me up to a lot of different sort of ways in which it can be used, and helped me to understand a lot better. I guess it's like we always say with leftist theory, right? It's you're adding tools to your toolbox. Like when you're reading different texts, or when you're looking at different sort of theorists or thinkers, it's all just new tools to add to your evolutionary toolbox. And I think that my biggest takeaway from today has been that all of these things, like NFTs, like Ethereum, Bitcoin, like all of these things, they're just tools. And the way in which we perceive them from the outside, like NFTs in particular, is like some silly, like hyper capitalist thing. It's only because silly hyper capitalists are the ones that are so far using the tools and putting them towards silly hyper capitalist applications. So it's definitely made me feel a lot more confident advocating for more looking more seriously into it. I probably won't personally, because I don't have a head for anything technology related, which is why Stork runs the streams and I just kind of rock up and yell generally, because I just don't understand technology. But I think comrades who do, I'll definitely be encouraging them to take it a lot more seriously. And I
Critical
appreciate
support, hey Spies.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. I appreciate that. Yeah. At the very least, I think you can speak about this experience of having someone explain to you more, more like diligently what this stuff is, for like the next person that you come across that like is very maybe very negative or very skeptical. You can at least like, you know, um, tamp down the extremeness of their rejection at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, like now we've got that sort of union, like the strike fund example, as a great example of something that can, like, NFTs seems so silly to me, but now I'm like, oh no, you could totally use that as a way to ensure that only people involved in the industrial action were getting access to the strike fund. And I'm like, well, that's actually a really cool thing. Or like you said as well, like having NFTs as like a proof of attendance at various different leftist events, or a proof of support, or like,
Yeah.
like I'm just like, okay, so yeah, so this does make sense. Like I understand it now. It's not just like a thing that you download and put on your computer that nobody else can technically say they have. That's
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the reason is that when we think of like exclusivity, we are largely think of it in the context of like commodification, or like using commodification as like a form of exclusivity, or like as if I don't know, like a country club type of thing. But there are reasons on the left why we want exclusivity, why we want to like protect ourselves from various things. And so they don't have to revolve around commodification. Exclusivity does not have to revolve around commodification, or like, giving a shit ton of money just for exclusivity. But it could also just be based on like your actions and like how you are going about doing praxis as you advocate for and proving that you are actually doing it.
It's that Mark Fisher thing, right? Like, it's impossible to imagine an end to capitalism, and our brains are so like infected by this transactional view of the world and this kind of hyper commodification of everything that just like you said, the idea of exclusivity just instantly becomes like an asset that you own and control, as opposed to like a tool that you can use for practical ends. So yeah, I've definitely I was half expecting to. I've got ADHD as well, so I was half expecting to just be drifting off halfway through this conversation and like staring at walls and stuff. But instead, I've found myself super engaged and like excited by the sort of stuff we've been talking about, and I think that's a credit to you, obviously, but also I think just generally that there is a lot of potential in what you're doing, and so I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming on and helping to educate, obviously us, but Chad as well, and